this scenario. There is a woman alone at home. The doorbell rings. She opens the door and finds a delivery boy with a parcel for her. She reaches out to collect the parcel, but he pulls it back. She looks at him and is shocked. He's gazing all over her lecherously. He mutters some snide remarks under his breath, but she can catch the meaning. He grins at her lasciviously, and she gets almost petrified but works up the courage to demand, "Are you going to give me the parcel or not?" He hands over the parcel. She grabs it from his hand and slams the door shut and almost collapses with fear. She takes a few deep breaths and slowly her fear turns to anger. She now wants to call the cops. But then she wonders, she thinks, that man has not touched me physically. What would I tell the cops? But she knows that an offense has been committed because she is feeling totally violated and absolutely uncomfortable. She wants that man to be punished. But what can she do? In 1997, the Supreme Court of India came out with the Vishaka guidelines for the protection of working women from sexual harassment. This became a law in 2013. The POSH law, or the Prevention of Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Act of 2013. The law is pretty broad-based in its description of sexual harassment. It describes sexual harassment as any physical touch or advances, seeking sexual favors, and any other physical, verbal or non-verbal conduct of sexual nature. So you see, it is pretty broad-based. The law is also very clear about who can file a complaint under POSH. Only an aggrieved woman can file a complaint. Moreover, there must be a workplace involved, or there should be a working relationship between the complainant, who is always an aggrieved woman, and the respondent. And finally, the harassment must be sexual in nature. You cannot just go and file a complaint under POSH because you had a bossy-feather shouting match with some colleague at office or with your boss at office. Or for that matter, you got into an altercation with a taxi driver who was driving the taxi too rashly. Or for that matter, with some vendor who delivered very bad service and overcharged. Or for that matter, even some delivery boy who comes and rings the bell 7 or 8 times, the doorbell 7 or 8 times, irritating you before you can open the door. No, these might be considered as harassment, but they're not sexual in nature. It has to be sexual harassment, and most women, I think almost every woman will know by instinct if sexual harassment takes place. So there has to be a sexual harassment to file a complaint under POSH. Now let us revert back to this house where this woman is, and can she file a complaint under POSH? Because she's at home, she's not at a workplace. But don't forget, that might be her house, but for that delivery boy, it's workplace because he has come there on duty. Moreover, there is a working relationship between that woman and that delivery boy, because she has placed an order and he has come to fulfill it. So yes, she can file a complaint under POSH. Now this naturally begs the question, where will she go to file this complaint? The POSH law has clearly mandated that every organization with a minimum of 10 persons working for them must form an internal committee. And this committee will have quasi-judicial powers to take up these kind of complaints, inquire into them, and punish the guilty. Now please note, the POSH law is a special law. It's a civil law. It's not a criminal law, so the guilty cannot be convicted. But they can be punished, and quite stringently at that. So that is what the POSH law says. And then automatically arises the third question. Fine, she can go and file a complaint with the internal committee, but where will she find the internal committee of this organization? Now, this woman knows the organization the delivery boy has come from, because she has placed an order probably through an app on her phone. So she has proof of that. She knows who this organization is and what they are, and she can always find out how to connect with them. So she has that proof. But she has no clue about who the internal committee members of that organization are, nor does she know where this internal committee sits. So what does she do? This is where the Ministry of Women and Child Development steps in. Now they have a wonderful website called SheBox. Now SheBox is a website that every woman must visit, because it throws so much of clarity in layperson's terms on the POSH laws. They have numerous FAQs relating to POSH, and they also have a mechanism to register a complaint online. So this woman can go to SheBox and register her complaint online, and they will direct this complaint to the concerned internal committee to take action. So this is important. Please remember this. It's called SheBox, SHEBOX. Okay, SheBox. Everybody should visit this. I also want to share with you a recent Karnataka High Court judgment. It happened as recently as in September 2024. It is related to POSH. This judgment came down heavily upon a very popular taxi aggregator who refused to take a complaint from a passenger, a woman passenger, who had summoned a taxi through their app. That taxi driver had harassed her sexually in the taxi while she was taking that ride. She had made a complaint to the internal committee of this organization, but they contended that this was not within their purview, because the taxi driver was not their employee, nor was the taxi owned by them. So they said, no, we can't look into this. But the High Court of Karnataka would have nothing to do with this argument. They directed the organization to compensate that woman for the harassment that she suffered, and they clarified that taxi drivers, delivery workers, all these gig workers of today, they may not be employed by an organization, but they do have a contractual obligation to an organization, and that organization is responsible for their behavior towards their customers. This was very clearly made out in the judgment in September 2024 by the Karnataka High Court. But having said that, I want you to keep one thing in mind very, very strongly. This is something that I want to share with you. It's very important. Please do not even for a moment think that people who come to your house, delivery boys or taxis that you hail, taxi drivers or auto drivers, or any other professional who comes to your house to deliver some kind of a professional service, please do not think that they have come there to harass you. Most of them, almost all of them, most of them are very decent people. They have come there to do a job, and they will finish the job and they keep going without doing anything else. They are helpful, they are courteous, and they are not there to drive any fear into you. So please don't live with that fear. Most of them, almost all of them are very decent people. But a few do exist, a very minuscule percentage, very small percentage, who are predators, and they must be stopped in their tracks before they prey on people. So please share this video with every woman that you know, family or friend, because they must know that such a thing exists, and they must feel empowered to act against those people who threaten them or make them feel uncomfortable. Goodbye.